Inviting two speakers, which is INTAC's international collaborations and initiatives and introduction to the Nepal project. And Divya Gupta, needs no introduction. I know him since his student days. He heads the Architectural Heritage Division, along with supported by Malavika and Vijaya, and you know how they function very efficiently. And he's been involved in projects, wealth of experience, wealth of knowledge over so many projects not only within India, outside India as well. He has worked in UK, Afghanistan, Nepal, Cambodia, USA, etc. And some of his projects won international awards, UNESCO Award for Merit, and he's member of various committees as he heads this division for a long time. I invite Divya to brief us on INTAC's international collaboration. Also, I'll do it. Okay, you are presenting first.
Thank you, Benny. Yeah. Thank you for those kind words. We generally tend to, whenever we talk of INTACH, we generally tend to look at projects that we do within India across many states. Some of you we have met, collaborated, and worked together. But today I would like to also present some of the works that we have been involved in the world. And like my colleague Neil said, that our impact is going much beyond our borders of India. Even when we call the Indian National Trust, we could well be called the International Indian Heritage Trust now. We have several collaborations and MOUs with several countries. The salient features of some of our international collaboration, though they are mainly non-commercial, they range between capacity building, undertaking some conservation project, largely on technical assistance. Several countries ask for knowledge sharing, organizing conferences, as well as exchange of expert. The landscape of our collaboration spread all over the world. We have close to about 20 MOUs in collaboration, though not all of them are completely functional, as a large amount of our present focus is really on the shared heritage of India, which we have been talking about, the impact India had in Central Asia or Southeast Asia or within the SAARC nations. But we have had MOUs with the University of York, with the government of Spain, US ICOMOS, and several other countries spread across. We signed a MOU in June 2016, where Chairman Sir went and attended an international conference in Cambodia with the presence of about 50 delegates, including UNESCO. And we were invited to sign this MOU with their equivalent of ASI, like the Apsara, the national authority that actually protects and conserve Angkor. And some of the activities under those MOUs have been developing certain conservation proposals like the Watbu, which includes both building and wall paintings, the Prasad Bayang, which is actually a 6th century Shiva temple, the oldest Shiva temple in Cambodia, as well as reviving the textile museum that is run by Government of India. We've also provided them with certain technical assistance for the environmental plan of the Mount Kulen, which has millions of Shivlingas actually carved on its rock surface to sort of sanctify the water when it flows down into Angkor. This was done through our Natural Heritage Division. Dr. Manu Bhatnagar went on that mission. We've also assisted them with geotechnical assessment, where Dr. Panduranga Rao went there and also discovered that they were also using the same technology. The Kakyatiyas were also using the sandbox technology, and they were pretty excited on those prospects of conserving them. We've been also guiding them with the World Heritage Management Systems. Several capacity building of Cambodians coming to INTACH for training, and we going to train them on risk assessment or structural conservation or heritage education has also happened. Plus, we've also given several proposals to the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, close to about 50 projects that cover 80 countries which share heritage with us, be it in Myanmar, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Cambodia, as well as in Bangladesh. These are not only conservation projects, they include several aspects of research which we really, very limited is really known about the aspects of the heritage that we share with other nation. Just to give an example, that there is a temple from the 10th century in Cambodia, which is actually the largest Shiva temple ever created. We don't have the temple of that size even in India, but it is still not known in India, and nobody would know. It is actually called a place called Koke. Even in Cambodia, it is not very well known. Other projects are related to documentation, conservation, setting up of museums. In the same regard, we were invited by the Embassy of India in Bangladesh to look at some of the heritage monuments in Dinajpur, where we prepared certain conservation proposals for the consideration of MEA, like the Rajbadi there and temples there at Bangladesh. We were also invited by the Embassy of Korea to develop a virtual museum at a place called Gimhae, which is in Korea. This Gimhae is a place where it is considered that a princess from Ayodhya married the king there in the first century, and they still celebrate that connection with India. And we thought that this story could be narrated through a virtual museum there. And though I think it's still not implemented, several conferences like with OS Heritage and our other international partners have happened. We are also part of an initiative, a global initiative called the Our World Heritage, which is actually an international alliance for professionals working on World Heritage, and several joint conferences with ASEAN, International Conservation Center, Poland, or the Cultural Forum, Uzbekistan, had also happened. The most important aspect happened in January 2019, where we signed the first uh, consultancy MOU with the Embassy of Nepal, where MEA appointed us as a PMC to help Nepal restore the earthquake damaged heritage building that were being funded by Government of India. So they're close to about 12 monuments that we are restoring, or rather helping the government of Nepal to restore them, where we're providing our handholding and technical expertise, and the delegation from Nepal is there. But besides that, we are also using this opportunity in building capacities, organizing workshops, in increasing and training the local experts and professionals in conservation. So these are just based on that. We set up a full-fledged office, which is called the Kathmandu Project Office, INTAC's first international office anywhere else besides India. We are also bringing in cutting edge technology in documenting several of these buildings, also because of their significance as well as the earthquake damage. Some of them were not accessible. So we're using laser scanning and drone photography for documentation. And a project website, which I will urge all of you to look at, was launched as part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav on 15th August 2021 at the Embassy of India. And we are not only alive, but we are very much live there. And for more details, I would request Mr. Kosh Nath Adhikari ji from the government of Nepal to talk a little bit more about the Nepal project. Over to you, Benny.
Thanks, Divya, for just 1 second. Thanks, Divya, for making spread the wings of INTACH to other countries. It's very important that INTACH shares its knowledge and the knowledge is disseminated to other. Capacity building is very, very important, and INTACH is doing a major role. Now, I would like to invite the next speaker, Sri Kosh Nath Adhikari, to talk about the Nepal project. He is the project director of the CLPIU Urban Development and Building Construction, Ministry of Urban Development, Government of Nepal. He is the nodal person for the India Nepal Heritage Project. He is an engineer with a master's degree in disaster management, which is very, very important in Nepal when you work. I'm very happy to invite Sri Adhikari, who has come all the way from Kathmandu. His team is also here. Looking forward to a great presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson of INTACH and all members of the INTACH and conveners of this convention, all experts in dance. I will brief you about the earthquake in Nepal and what we are doing till date in a summary beyond my scope. As I earlier said that I am looking after the central level project implementation unit, and I have to look after for private housing also, as well. Similarly, monuments part that we are already in discussion. Another part is the health sector buildings, and the total beneficiaries of private housing were 866,000. Among them, 88% of private dwellings are already completed. 920 monuments were affected during the 2015 earthquake in Nepal. Among them, nearly we have completed more than 700 monuments that are already conserved and restored. Similarly, more than 1,100 health facilities were damaged. Among them, we have completed more than 60% right now, and we are in the phase of reconstruction for all those infrastructures. First of all, I would like to thank for INTAS for inviting us and providing this opportunity to deal with the conservation status of 28 projects of monuments. There was a MOU between Government of Nepal and Government of India in 2016 for the restoration of 28 projects which were affected by the earthquake in 2015 in Nepal. I already talked about those points, but there are a lot of fundings from the government of India right after the earthquake. Housing support $100 million US. Similarly, reconstruction of health facilities, as I said earlier, $50 million US. And the reconstruction of cultural heritage sector, $50 million US. Similarly, we have added two new projects. Reconstruction of two old heritage sites, Paswadinath and Patan Old Heritage Site, Darbar Square. As you know earlier that we are getting funds from the government of India and technical support from the INTAS for 12 projects. And this is the list of the project. I will not read all the projects due to limitation of time, and which is scattered in different 8 districts of Nepal. And among the 28 projects, India is involved in major monuments within the capital city of the Kathmandu, which falls within the Kathmandu, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur districts, which are adjoining infrastructures of the old heritage site also. There is a little bit longer process for the approval of the cultural heritage site to go ahead. First, the DPRs were prepared by the Department of Archaeology, and they have sent to central level project implementation unit, and we that DPR is reviewed by INTAS, and final DPR is prepared by the India. And the we have to take again the final approval from the Department of Archaeology. After the approval of the Department of Archaeology, in some cases, we have to talk with the UNESCO also, because they are associated with the old heritage site also. These are the steps. And then we have completed the 24, out of 28, we have completed 24 procurement process, and which are under restoration work right now. CLPIU is serving on implementation of 16 projects. As I said, 12 projects are implemented by technically supported by the INTACH, which is the PMC, and 16 projects uh, uh, are restoring by ourselves from the government of Nepal, and that is under restoration work conducted by the central level project implementation unit. INTACH monitoring of the project during execution for 10 projects right now. 2 projects are already done by the users committee and local authority. Uh, in, for the remaining 2 projects, we have just approved the project of the Pashupati Nath as well as Patan Darbar Square, as I said earlier. I talked about this. I will not kill your time. This is the list of the project and their tentative project cost. I will not go through this. As I said earlier, we have completed the project, tendering process, procurement process, and we are under restoration phase right now. The total projects of which is PMC involved in 99.35 crore, that is the tender amount. And in the former session, our chairperson has already mentioned that all the roofs are covered by mud and the local tiles, that is called jingati in our Nepalese language. Similarly, these are the example of such monuments that I want to show in the picture also. These are the same type of structure which was clearly mentioned in the opening sessions. This is the project of Bhaktapur district, that is Jangam Math, that we have just started for a restoration work right now. The main thing is that we have to restore all the structures on the footprint of the structure before the earthquake. That's why we have to rigorous exercise to be done with the community as well as local authority, which takes a lot of time. During the construction also, we have to talk, the series of meeting has to be conducted with the community. For that meeting, INTACH as well as my office are involved to resolve the issue and go ahead. This is the survey documentation and review and preparation of revised DPR. As I said earlier, our DPR is prepared by the Department of Archaeology before the MOU signed between INTACH and the Government of India also. And that document is reviewed by the INTACH, and the community consultation and approval. Community consultation is a must everywhere. Selection of existing agencies and contractors through tendering process, that has been already completed. Implementation and monitoring, another phase, and the completion and handover of the project. We have completed nearly 25% right now, physical progress that we have achieved till date. These are the milestones. Community consultation, as I said earlier, there are series of meetings that we have to do to convince the people as well as to take their to opinions also. Similar, these are the few photographs. and some groundbreaking ceremony was happened. Uh, this is the implementation phase of the monuments also. We are using the wood as a primary structural element. These are few examples of the monument which are under restoration right now. Wall painting also in the former speakers have talked so much about this also. I will not go through detail. And the another part is the reuse of existing material. That is the vital part, where most of the woods which we are consolidating and they reusing in the restoration work also. This is the activity schedule. Almost our project needs 2 years duration to complete. Thank you very much for my short and brief presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Adhikari, for giving a presentation on how the projects is going. One major difference which we can see in the presentation compared with the Indian projects is the community participation and consultation with the community. This is something which I think we can learn from the Nepal experience, and that will be there. Now, the floor is open to questions. Anybody can ask any questions. We have a limited time. We are already running late. So, yeah, please. Please tell whom the question is addressed to.
Years, they are unaware of it. That is the basic question. And that is the question I have been raising in INTACH various forums from time to time. Why the engineers are ignorant? They are ignorant because it is not in their text. It is not in their syllabus. You see, I am from Orissa. So we are doing a lot of conservation of work. So sometimes engineering help is required. And if you ask the engineer, they very frankly admit, we have no idea about conservation. I think once the boy had gone to Ravensa College, if you remember, that's a very old college, more than 100 years old. Then the boy, myself, and our director, Mrs. Mitra, we had gone, and the engineer was there. And when he saw the aberrations, he asked. The engineer frankly said that I don't know anything about it. So there is no point blaming the engineers because it is not in their syllabus. And we have not made any concrete effort. Let me complete the question, another one or two questions. We have not made any concrete and sincere effort to include it. And if you speak to the engineer, he said that is the duty of the architect. Yes, in the course of architecture, it is there, conservation is there. But architect, he is not implementing the projects. Projects are implemented by the engineers. So architect is a helpless spectator. That is number one from your speech. From what he spoke, two, three very important points. One is the doctrinal documents, whatever you mean by it. The point is how friendly they should be, keeping in tune the time. In India, you cited several examples that we have been following mostly Western conservation norms. That is very much a fact. ICOMOS or UNESCO, whatever it is, they are all Western, they are not Indian. Now, the point is the main conservation agency, the architectural survey, archaeological survey of India, how much they are interested and how much they are keen to adopt, to evolve their own method of conservation. They are not at all keen. They are not at all keen. ASI has just revised their architectural conservation norms. I think he can bear out. There is not much of difference. As early as 2 years back, he had also gone to talk in Konark about conservation norms. You see, before that, I had sent some RTI question to ASI Bhubaneswar. Instead of my question, quoted Marshall's doctrine, one paragraph of Marshall's doctrine. So what can you do about it? You cannot do anything about it unless our important
Yeah, please. Let's.
archaeological agencies, they change their mind and tune their mind to this. Then second is very important. You're talking of integrity, maintaining integrity in conservation. Maintaining integrity, we were speaking a lot from the podium. We are giving lectures and all. It has become minor. In the last 2-3 years, I noticed, you see, there are so many new projects coming up in Orissa. An important and highly controversial project is the Puri Jagannath Parikrama. So integrity is not a problem, is not a point at all. As you
Yeah.
see, the Puri temple, there are 3 colors. Is it allowed?
Yeah, please. There are so many questions. People are
So
standing up.
then that is one. Yeah. So that has to be kept in mind.
Sorry. See.
So
Yeah.
these are the points I wanted to make.
The first question you yourself answered. So I'm not trying to attempt. Now Neil might. Neil also doesn't want to come and he says there is only a comment. Do you want to say? Yeah.
No, I think I didn't get the question precisely, but I think your point is valid. Your point is valid. So if I were to respond to that, I would say that's why, rather than, because if you don't have your own doctrinal text, and we are following somebody else anyway. So better we have our own text, think about it, but also do not get caught up in that text that, written 20 years ago. Maybe now is the time review. And also, again, India is a diverse country. Each context, probably north, south, are different. So I think we also need to keep that in mind. So we should not assume that there might be one universal text for India, because India itself is very diverse. So I think learning from the previous global issue, we learn and implement in India also that let it be a living document. That was my point. So I think that will address your, because if we do that, then if it picks up, then hopefully ASI will also learn from it, because 2014 revision of National Conservation Policy, to my mind, was a big shift, because it has acknowledged some of the concepts, but I don't know how that has gone into other. I do not know, but I can see few changes happening. And why I'm talking about reason, because what ASI does, Nepal's Department of Archaeology typically follows that. So that's why I think when the scale is shifted to a larger scale, impact is bound to be happening. So I think that's the process I was talking. So I hope that will answer your question and concern.
Yeah, please limit the questions to 1 or 2 sentences.
Yeah,
It
I
will
have,
help.
I have two very short. My name is Jayant. Two very short questions. One to you, Benny. You mentioned about wood and lime not being used as much, despite the fact that those buildings last longer. Just want to check with you. What about the cost effectiveness of these material vis-a-vis concrete and steel? That's one. And second is, from a supply perspective also. If theoretically all buildings being constructed switch over to wood and lime, is it available in plenty? And wood also, while it saves, it does something good to the carbon footprint, but the fact is wood, the trees also get cut. So that's one question to you. The second question is to Neil. You mentioned about the INTACH charter being good in spirit, but charter at the end of the day is like guiding principles. You yourself said that there should be guidelines for architects and other conservation experts to use them. But my question to you is that actual conservation work, be it ASI, be it INTACH, or anybody, is actually done by contractors. So how do you imbibe the spirit of the INTACH charter to the people who actually do it on the ground? How do you translate? I mean, how do you transmit those sensibilities to the actual doers on the ground? These are the two questions.
Neil will answer first.
You see, Jayant Krishna ji, we are now working with the Council of Architecture to bring on board the colleges of architecture to teach our charter in the colleges of architecture. Till that charter is taught in the colleges and we talk about more, I don't think we'll make any further progress in that regard. And the Council of Architecture has only recently agreed with us. They were to hold a seminar with us in 2021, but because of pandemic, they couldn't hold. So sometimes in October, November, we hope to hold a seminar with the colleges, about 40 to 45 important colleges of architecture in the country. So I think it's lack of knowledge about the charter within India itself. The people abroad are talking, but within India, there's a lot of talking. But in the working of INTACT, a lot of work is being done as per the charter, has come. So that will be my short answer as to what INTACT is doing in that regard. I think your question is that regard. Thank you. I think let's call it a day and everybody can go and have a little relax and come for the next program. Okay, we'll take the questions. We have got plenty of time to take more questions.
Can I just take 15 seconds or 30 seconds to just answer to him? So, one thing I didn't mention in my presentation is if you look at this doctrinal text, there are two types. One is this convention, like the World Heritage Convention and all that, which has a little bit of legal teeth. You know, it will have some legal repercussions, whereas the charters do not have that. So that's something we have to keep in mind. It's more of, you know, like INTACT adopts a charter, it's more for the INTACT members to follow. So it becomes a moral, ethical guidelines. And as he rightly pointed out, more and more it is spread, more you are, you know, getting the support. And I think that's the way to go. But then guidelines, when it is sort of articulated, hopefully then it will reaches to the contractors also, because if you are contracting out, then you would be citing some clause saying this is how it should be done. Then hopefully that will address. But there is a fundamental limitation with the charter that it's not a legal document per se. Thank you.
I will answer your question personally. Now, Vijaya will, now, okay, I'll just
Yeah,
take
you will have
two
to,
sentences.
yes.
One is limestone is the raw material for making cement. That is one question. Now, coming to the trees, not by cutting forests. We have so much wasteland available in India or any of the other countries. Let us grow trees. Let us save the future generation. Australia has huge wasteland. India has so much wasteland. And let us grow. I'm not talking about teak. Can talk about bamboo. Bamboo is not a timber, it's considered to be grass. But there are so many other timber species which we can use in our buildings very effectively, very strong timber. There are timber species which are 50% stronger than teak, much durable than teak, but we don't use it because we don't learn about those timber species in our classes. Finally, education is a curriculum or education is a problem. There is a way. I might not have answered your question fully, but let us get to the next step. We will discuss.
Thank you, Benny. I think we have to cut short the question answer session. We have to close the session for to move on to the next. We also have a break which we have to give. So big thank you to all our esteemed speakers, and special thank you to Benny for conducting the session very well and on time. Although we started I think half an hour late, but we could finish little late, only 5 minutes late, but it's good. Thank you, Chairman Sir. Thank you, Ma'am. Thank you, Vice Chairman Ma'am. And thank you all conveners and INTACT members and guests for your kind attention. I'm sure you'll have a lot of lessons and takeaways, from this session. We'll also circulate this as part of the proceeding, the main points from this session. I will now request Divya to give a small token of appreciation to our speakers. Benny, please, we'll start with you. Thank you so much, Benny, to come all the way to spare 2 days, one for the Architectural Advisory Committee meeting and the next for the convention. Thank you. Neil Kamal, Shap again, Dr. Neil Kamal. Thank you, Neil. you're here tomorrow as well, so I think you can meet with other conveners. You can have more exchange of words. Kosh Nath ji, thank you so much for gracing the occasion. Thank you so much. Dr. Randhawa, sir, it was just simply a visual treat. I think we started whistling also, and with lot of exclamation, "Oh my God, oh my God," with the photographs. So 20 minutes was such an injustice. So we'll require one day, maybe more days. Yes, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And Dr. Panduranga Rao, sir, thank you so much. And you also had a small demonstration for us. Thank you so much, Divya. Yes. And now Kosh Nath Adhikari ji has got a small memento for Chairman Sir INTACH. So you can go down the dais and present it. He has been wanting to give it in the beginning itself, but we delayed it. Achha.